So you've finally decided to get serious about promoting and marketing your music, huh? Good, you are on a great path, one that will ultimately be incredibly rewarding. If you found yourself interested in watching a music marketing mindset for beginners video, such as this, you probably fall into one of the following categories. 1, you're brand new to marketing. You've not so much as boosted a post yet, and you're trying to start off on the right foot. If this is you, great work, you stinking little overachiever, you're gonna kill it. Or 2, you've already started digging in, maybe you've been doing it a while even, but are feeling burnt out or overwhelmed. And let me tell you, you are not alone. Mastering this skill set can feel like learning a new language, and in many ways, that's exactly what it is. Not to mention, it's a language that changes all the time.
We don't understand your language.
Whichever group you find yourself in, framing your mindset is your first step to success as you expand your marketing knowledge. Whether you're just starting out or whether you've been at it a while, there are many barriers you may face in your music marketing efforts. Some technical, some emotional, and you're going to need someone to talk you through it. So for this video, I will be your personal mindset coach. As we run down the different challenges you may encounter, we'll put together a playbook of all the strategies you can employ, first, to keep from burning out, and second, to absolutely crush your marketing. So let's get into it. Play number 1, give yourself a f***ing break. Here's the thing, you don't know what you don't know. As you start learning more about marketing and about building your buddy system or customer journey, it's easy to feel upset or frustrated looking back at past efforts that were less informed. Many independent artists, myself included, spin their wheels for years thinking they're making progress. I mean, let's be honest, as artists pursuing careers in music, we've been fed a lot of bad advice. We've been told that we need to do whatever we can do to get industry attention so that a record company will come save us from our indie misery. We've been told that we need to release songs all the effing time on Spotify to generate interest and appease the almighty algorithm. We've been told that we need to be absolute content machines to stay relevant. We've been told that the only measure of success in the industry is blowing up or going viral. And we've been told that the only worthy demographic worth reaching are our TikToking Gen Z babies. No offense, Gen Z babies, we love you too. And while these things can certainly lead to or contribute to success, we've also been told that these are the only surefire ways to succeed, regardless of our differences as artists and regardless of our individual journeys or long-term goals. This leads so many artists, again talking about myself, to focus on all the wrong things. Instead of being primarily concerned with creating art, it is so easy to get caught up in the follower counts, monthly listener stats, and constantly comparing yourself to others you deem to be successful. But once you start diving into the power of marketing, a lot of those things feel sillier and sillier. Before I started working in music marketing, I was hardcore chasing the wrong things. Doing follow for follow crap, engagement pods, fake it till you make it was my mantra. Once I started understanding how building a strong buddy system and marketing plan could do more for me than almost any of the junk I'd been focusing on before, I felt like a big fat Dumbo, a fool of a toque, a clown. All I could think about was the literal years I'd wasted following and unfollowing, posting content that I didn't really care about, and pushing so hard for industry attention. And all that time spent on that, focusing on all I had done wrong, was not good. So I don't want you to be like me. I want you to give yourself a break. Don't dwell on everything you could have done differently up to this point. Just get freaking amped about how good it can be going forward. Plan number 2, don't panic. Sometimes learning something for your music business is a means to an end, not a skill you'll need more than once or twice. For example, learning the basics of Photoshop to put together a quick show poster, or learning the 10 whistle solo from My Heart Will Go On for a hilarious cover at your next show, or maybe learning some coordinated dance moves for a music video you're filming. These may be things you learn for a moment to use at a specific time, but then you can generally dismiss them as skills after they've served their purpose for your music. This is how many artists view marketing. They treat it as something that they can just haphazardly tack onto a release plan. Just throw up an ad or two to promote their new song or project and call it a day. And that may be how you're viewing it. Just something that you can try out real quick. But I'm gonna say something to you right now that I need you to internalize. Maybe more than anything else in this video. Ready? Marketing isn't a one-time event, but don't panic. It is a cornerstone of all your creative efforts. It's a core piece of your business that will always be relevant, which is incredibly powerful and exciting, so don't panic. Your music is a business. It is a tower of creativity and badassery, and because you're a badass, you get to be the driving force behind a successful and thriving business. Outside of the arts, there aren't successful and thriving businesses that don't spend time and effort consistently on bringing new awareness to their awesomeness through marketing. So don't panic. Okay, last time, marketing isn't a one-time event, and you're a badass, so don't panic. But listen, I completely get the impulse to panic. I, for one, am a solo artist. I have a fantastic band that plays with me, but when it comes to anything other than playing music, aka anything business, promo, merch, tech related, that weight falls directly on these fine shoulders. Now, some of you watching this video are part of a band or collective that shares the responsibility of your success equally, and you may be feeling very good about splitting up these efforts among your group. But for some of us, all this falls on one person, so I understand why you could feel overwhelmed at this point. I certainly did. So whether you're doing it all by yourself or you're sharing the burden with others, the same statement is true. One step at a time. You can't do everything at once. You literally can't, and that's just science. If you don't like it, you can take it up with God or Neil deGrasse Tyson.
First, the Big Bang.
All that to say, it's going to take time to learn this stuff. It's gonna take time to implement, and it's going to be a consistent effort that you continuously deploy over your career, which means it might start out rough, but it can only get better. It can only get better as you learn it, and it can only get better as you try things and test out your theories. But here's the thing, you have to start. You can't improve on something you're not implementing. I know it feels scary and weird, but I promise the more you do it, the less it will feel that way. Which brings us to our third play. Focus on foundation, bitch. Don't use that one. Don't use that. That's for me to you to be fun. I know we talked about it in the previous play, but now I really want to dig in on it. Focus on your foundation first. Once you start seeing the plans for the whole house, I get it. You want to start building the hot tub in the backyard or the skylight on the second floor, but don't even think about implementing it until you have a solid foundation. The idea of going viral is pretty sexy, right? There you are, grinding away in your pathetic indie life, and then all of a sudden, the stars align. You did it. You created the correct piece of content at the correct time that resonates with all the people. You've done it. You've gone viral. All of a sudden, the likes are pouring in, the comments are exploding, your followers are off the charts, you're muffing popular. Now, let's look at a few scenarios to see how this might pan out. Scenario number one, you have been grinding, you have been rising and shining. You have stable recurring content, you know your brand, you know who your fans are, and you have a solid foundation of music and/or content under your belt. You built to last. So when that fateful day comes where you see your latest release or video or TikTok start popping off, you already have this incredible ecosystem for people to plug into because you spent the time building a solid foundation. That little bit of exposure can be the spark that ignites all your previous efforts. Now, scenario two, you've done nothing to secure your foundation. You're Efforts are haphazard, or maybe you're more focused on going viral than building an ecosystem. So now that fateful day comes around, people are discovering you at a high rate. However, there's no culture for them to identify with or ecosystem that they can become part of. They may love that one thing you did, but there's not much more reason for them to stick around because you're not giving them a reason to. There's nothing for them to dig into.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
This is a huge factor in many one-hit wonders that we see in the music industry. If you take a quick account of the one-hit wonders of the world, you'll notice a common thread. Many of them got huge off maybe their first single or first album, but had nothing else to offer their new fans. Now, of course, there are going to be examples that you can find of people who didn't have their foundation set up ahead of time and still made it long term. But why wouldn't you plan for the latter? The control that you have at this point in your career means you get to create the exact kind of community and culture you want in your fan base. So instead of being bummed about the fact that you're at the beginning and that you don't yet have the notoriety that you hope to achieve, view this time as your perfect chance to create the framework for the ideal career that you would like to flesh out. Now, you may be thinking, well, Gracie, in the past, I thought I knew what I wanted. My goal was to accomplish X or Y, but then I failed and I had to pivot. And that brings us to our next play. Play number 4. There's no failing in baseball. I've not seen the movie that this pop culture reference is from, but I know it. I think it's from A League of Their Own. The line is, there's no crying.
Are you crying? Are you crying?
Because it's girls, and girls cry.
There's no crying in baseball.
Anyway, I really like having a megaphone. There's chalk everywhere right now. There are many occasions in life where we fail. Failure is an incredibly human experience that every single person deals with at multiple points in their life. That doesn't make it feel any less traumatic or embarrassing when you're the one feeling the existential burn of a personal failure, but it is truly a universal human experience. From falling off your bike the first time you fail to ride it down the street, to running an opt-in campaign that fails to bring in any new subscribers, we are all, as a human race, intimately familiar with the feeling of personal failure. Something my mom used to say to me in my deeply troubled and emotional teenage years was, no one is thinking about your hair looking bad because they're worried about their own hair looking bad. Now, while Debbie was maybe not directly connected to the cruelty of prepubescent middle school humans, she was basically right. What may feel like a mountain of ridiculousness to you will likely be perceived as nothing more than an unmemorable bump in the road to your peers and fans. In a recent conversation with an independent artist in our community, she was feeling disheartened because she was in the middle of running a merch giveaway that wasn't producing the results that she wanted. Her immediate instinct was to be embarrassed that only a handful of people had been interested in the giveaway enough to enter, and had chalked the experience up to an overall failure. But after more conversation, the different ways which the giveaway was successful as well as not so successful became clear and became a path forward to a better iteration of a merch giveaway in the future. The concept of failing forward is incredibly important where you stand right now. Most of your failures are invisible to your audience, and is it really a failure if you learn something valuable that you can grow from? Every step you take forward is exactly that, a step forward, even if it doesn't move you to the exact place you thought it would. So embrace the idea of failing forward. Don't let any experience pass you by without gleaning something from it. It's only up from here. Remember, no one has time to worry about your hair because they're worried about their own hair, so just keep moving forward. And this brings us to our next and very critical play. Play number 5. Your value isn't tied to your marketing successes or failures. Your first thought might be, duh, but we're not skipping this. This ties directly into our last play, but it deserves some attention of its own. I'm gonna say it again. Your personal value as a living, breathing, creative human being is in no way tied to or affected by your marketing efforts. Let me tell you the truth right now. You could have the most magnificent ad in the world, and yet there are going to be mean people that are going to troll your ads, and it has very little to do with you. They'll leave mean comments or nondescript gifs that don't quite make sense but hurt your feelings nonetheless. There are going to be painfully blunt people that just don't vibe with your stuff and decide it's worth their time to let you know that. And there are going to be times when you do miss the mark and people point it out. However, hear me when I say none of those things take any value away from you as a human or from your art as a whole. Internalize this now, because whether or not you've encountered this yet, you will. And your personal emotional success and your marketing stamina depend on you making this separation in your mind. Sometimes people just won't vibe with your stuff, and that's okay. It's your creative expression and it's beautiful and wonderful. And that brings us to our next play. Play number 6. Marketing is creativity. Marketing is creativity. Marketing. Just like there are arguments about the best Renaissance artist, some will say it's unequivocally Leonardo da Vinci, while others will die on the hill that is Michelangelo. There are going to be people who just don't like your stuff, and what it comes down to is personal taste. Have you ever heard someone say that they think cilantro tastes like soap? Yuck. Ew, soap is gross for nomming on, and it is universally agreeable that we don't eat it. Yet I love cilantro. I don't think it tastes anything like soap, but some people just disagree, and that's normal. So in the same way that you have personal tastes for what foods you like to eat, people have the same strong opinions for what kinds of music they like to listen to. And it has nothing to do with the quality or passion involved in the creation of your music. So knowing that gives us this incredible tool to own our audience from the very beginning. And what I mean by that is, if there is so much of you and your brand and your creativity fused into your marketing that anyone seeing it can immediately know if they identify with you or not, that's an incredibly powerful way to build your tribe. Something that I hear from indies every day is that they don't want to do the business stuff. They just want to write, play, record music, and to be creative. But spoiler alert, the entire concept of marketing is based in creativity. It's about coming up with artistic and clever ways to bring people into something that they'll want to be part of. I've heard people call marketing manipulative, or say things like, yeah, that marketing really got you, or tricked you into buying that thing or being part of this. I don't know about you, but if I get an ad for a t-shirt that's just my style, or a product that fixes a pain point in my life, or new music that falls perfectly in line with my tastes, I'm grateful. I'm glad that someone's ad targeting looped me into those things. They're things that I likely want in my life. Approach learning digital marketing as another creative skill to add to your creative toolbox. Now, for our last play, play number 7. You can do this. Really dumb people use digital marketing. I mean, really dumb people can learn this stuff. And are you dumb? No. So you're already at an advantage. There is no way in hell that you can't learn it. And there's no way in hell that if you learn it, you won't be able to use it to accomplish your goals. If you can teach yourself how to play an instrument, program a synth, read sheet music, produce a single in your bedroom, write a song, you can learn digital marketing. If I can learn it, you can learn it. I swear to Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right, let's get an instant replay on what we've covered so far. Play number 1, give yourself a fucking break. This shit is hard. Play number 2, don't panic. Marketing isn't a one-time event. It's an incredible vehicle to help get you where you want to be, so don't panic. Take it one step at a time. Play number 3, focus on foundation. In the beginning of your artist journey, you have the opportunity to build a strong foundation and ecosystem that can grow and scale with you. Play number 4, there's no failing in baseball. There's no such thing as failing if you learn from every experience. fail forward and aim to get better over time. Play number 5, your value isn't tied to your marketing successes or failures. You and your art have inherent value that is not diminished or augmented by your marketing. Play number 6, marketing is creativity. It's an amazing tool that uses your creativity to reach people that will resonate with you and your art. And last but certainly not least, play number 7, you can do this. You can freaking do this. You're smart, you're creative, you're talented, you're driven, you're a hecking badass. Look at all you've accomplished up to this point. You think you're stopping here? No way. Everything is looking up and you're about to crush all that ish. Now, as we reach the end of this video, I want you to know how proud I am of you. You are taking a big step. It might even feel like a big risk, but you're doing it. And you should be wildly proud of yourself. This is hard work, but I know you're up for the challenge. So here is my standing invitation for you to come back to this video anytime you need to recenter yourself. You're going to hit roadblocks, emotionally, technologically, but I promise that it's nothing you can't overcome with the right tools and the right mindset. I've been Gracie Phillips for Full Stack Creative. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see more of. And don't forget, you're a badass and you've totally got this. I'll see you in the next video.
Sports stuff. Sports stuff. Sports stuff. Sports stuff. Sports. All right, that's it. I'm done.